NBA YoungBoy and the moment the wound stops paying. NBA YoungBoy is not just a rapper. He's a Baton Rouge transmitter with a rare ability to turn internal weather into public weather. The brand name says it all. YoungBoy never broke again. Not just money, not just charts. Never broke in the deeper sense. Never empty, never silent, never without output. Because in the modern economy, pain is a generator. And his early run proved the rule. The more raw the hurt, the more compulsive the music. The fans didn't just like the songs. They bonded with the wound. They recognized that kind of urgency that only comes from someone trying to survive their own mind. That's why the at the beginning hits like a signature. Not a hook, a pulse. A nervous system clearing its throat before it confesses. Now drop the clip into the middle of that mythology. In the interview, he's asked about emotions, pain, response tracks and therapy. And instead of a headline answer, he gives something more honest. He says he's emotional, but he doesn't get hurt like that anymore. He says he doesn't go that deep because he isn't that hurt anymore. He says a lot of things don't bother him anymore because it ain't that important why he'd make a song. Then the line that changes everything arrives like a casual shrug. Let it go. Just let it be. That sentence is not a motivational quote. It's a power shift. Because the old engine was reaction. Pain happened, then a track happened. A slight happened, then a response happened. A breakup happened, then a sea. The world does something, then the self feels something, then the self becomes something. And the whole cycle feels inevitable until someone notices that the fuel is interpretation. That's what makes his "I don't go that deep anymore" so interesting. It's not a decline, it's a withdrawal of investment. If the mind stops insisting that every disturbance is meaningful, the disturbance loses its job. And when disturbance loses its job, output slows down. Not because the gift is gone, because the compulsion is gone. Then the interviewer asks about therapy. He says he tried it. And when asked if it worked, he says, "I can't remember." That might be the most revealing line in the whole clip. Because in a culture where everyone turns healing into a brand, "I can't remember" is almost sacred. It suggests there was no trophy built around it. No identity formed around doing the work. No performance of transformation. Just a reduced need to react. A Course in Miracles keeps pointing to this quiet result. Peace is not a dramatic achievement. It's what remains when the mind stops defending its interpretations. So, "I can't remember" can be read as, it didn't become a story. And when healing doesn't become a story, it actually has a chance to be real. Then comes the narrative control line. He says he doesn't want to respond. He says he likes to control the narrative. Most people hear that and assume ego. But there are two kinds of narrative control. One is manipulation, controlling perception so an image can survive. The other is sovereignty, refusing to let reaction write the script. Response tracks are still chains, even when they win. Because to respond is to admit the other person authored the moment. To respond is to orbit. To respond is to keep a fire alive by constantly proving it's hot. In coarse language, this is the difference between being guided and being provoked. The ego loves provocation because it keeps identity sharp. A diss track is identity's cardio. It says, "I am this, and you are that, and I will not let the world forget it." But "I don't want to respond" is a strange kind of maturity. It's the refusal to let conflict be a creative director. That refusal is the beginning of freedom, and also the beginning of audience disappointment. Because the audience often wants the old young boy, the hurt one, the volatile one, the one who makes music like he's bleeding in real time. And that's the hidden bargain nobody admits. People reward pain when it performs well. They call it real. They call it raw. They call it relatable. But what they're really doing is subscribing to a wound. So when the wound closes, the subscribers feel betrayed. Not because the music is worse, because the addiction lost its supply. This is why control the narrative matters. If pain created the narrative before, then letting it be threatens the entire identity economy. When pain is gone, what's left to sell? When pain is gone, what's left to prove? When pain is gone, who is left to be? That's the metaphysical edge of this clip. It's not about rap. It's about the ego's reliance on hurt to maintain continuity. Pain is sticky because it makes time feel real. A grievance gives yesterday a job. A trigger gives tomorrow a threat. And in between, the present becomes a hallway instead of a home. So when YoungBoy says he's older and things don't hurt like that anymore, it's not just emotional growth. It's a loosening of time. Less replay. Less anticipation. Less need to anchor identity in reaction. Confessional happened. That's not just being an artist. That's being enslaved to triggers. A Course in Miracles would call that the ego's favorite arrangement, a mind that believes it is at the mercy of what it perceives. That's why the line, "Let it go," carries so much weight. Because it's not passive. It's not weakness. It's the end of the ego's favorite business model, turning pain into purpose and calling it personality. And the clip leaves one question hanging in the air that matters more than music. If the public loved the output that came from the wound and healing reduces the need to go deep, then what happens when peace threatens the very identity that pain built? Will healing still be chosen when the wound stops paying?